Follow us to stay updated on debates, discussions, facts, and tips about health. Click on the subscribe button and the bell icon for latest updates.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel, the Health Indian Project, and today we are back with yet another episode of Health Files. I am Mehak, your host for the day, and as we have come to observe and celebrate World No Tobacco Day today, it is crucial for all of us to acknowledge the alarming statistics that surround tobacco consumption. Tobacco claims millions of lives each year, causing preventable diseases, financial burdens, and immeasurable sufferings for individuals and communities alike. If you are on this journey of quitting tobacco today, then this interview is very helpful for you. Quitting tobacco is not an easy feat, and we totally understand that. It not only requires determination and resilience from one's end, but also a community, a support system that can understand the complexities of addiction, withdrawal symptoms, relapse, cravings, and triggers that can make your tobacco quitting journey difficult. So, to simplify all of this for you, we have a very special guest joining us today who can shed some light on the emotional and psychological aspects and struggles faced by those who are on this tobacco quitting journey. He is none other than Dr. Rohan Bartake, the founder of Quit Buddy Community. He is on a mission of making India tobacco free. Not only this, he's an award winning tobacco de addiction expert. So let's welcome him on the show. Thanks for joining us today, Dr. Rohan. It is amazing to have you here with us. Dr. Rohan, starting with first things first, we have all seen the warning messages glaring at us from cigarette boxes explicitly saying that smoking kills. But all the smokers seemingly ignore these stark reminders. So, what do you think is the psychology of a smoker behind this ignorance?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question because the packet itself mentions that smoking kills. Still, why do people indulge into it? So, before understanding this topic for which is concerned to cigarette, we need to understand the basics of addiction. So, when I say addiction, what are the reasons why do people get into addictions? There are four important reasons for this. The first important reason is the chemicals present in these addictive substances. For example, there is nicotine in tobacco, there is something in alcohol, there is something in narcotic drugs. So this characteristic of the chemicals which are present, like nicotine has a characteristic that it is one of the most addictive substance in the world. Like gold has some characteristics, silver has some characteristics, nicotine has its characteristic that it is, by nature, it is addictive. So this is one important reason, the characteristic of these chemicals, that they are addictive in nature.
Okay.
If 10 people smoke for the first time, 9 of them might get addicted to it because nicotine will reach the brain and create receptor level changes. And that is how the characteristic of these chemicals is. So they will get addicted. Second important point is person's personality. If your personality is strong enough, good enough, you have the guts to say no to wrong things. You won't fall to the peer pressure, the environmental stress, the work stress and all. So your personality plays a very important role. Third important point is friend and family support. So when I say friend and family support, your surrounding, your family support plays an important role. First, you won't get into any addictions. And secondly, even in the treatment part, we suggest to take a lot of family support because that is an important part to get out of the addiction as well. I can give you a small case study over here. There was this Vietnam War which happened where US soldiers were deployed in Vietnam for a long time. Now this war was not much of an actual war. This was much of a cold war. So the soldiers had nothing to do. So they were being provided with a lot of addictive substances. You will be surprised that when the war got over and all the soldiers came back to their families, 99% of all the soldiers had quit all the drugs. So if characteristic of the chemical was only reason, they should have continued. But friend and family support plays such an important role that the soldiers came back to the family and their environment. They were off all the drugs. Okay. And fourth important point is the stressful conditions. It is seen and the research says that if a person is working under stressful conditions in a stressful environment, the chances of them getting into the drugs are much more. So this is about addiction. Why do people get into any kind of addiction? Coming back to your question, what about cigarette or smoking or tobacco products? There are certain reasons like people are having wrong perceptions about smoking. People feel that it won't happen to them. Like people used to feel COVID won't happen to me. They used to ignore the protocols because they felt that COVID won't happen to me. Similarly, people feel cancer won't happen to me, even if it is mentioned on the packet itself. Second important reason is peer pressure. We did a survey in a girls' college to understand the increasing rate of girls smoking. Majority of them also spoke about the peer pressure because of which they started doing it. Another important thing is the style quotient, the fashion, and the way the actors and advertisement promote smoking. So it is looked up to something which people aspire to be like the actors, and eventually they land up doing or mimicking these actors and following them blindly because they feel that that macho image is created on screen in advertisements. That is how people like to be like them. Another important thing is people have some wrong concepts regarding this. It can relieve your stress or it can relieve your other health conditions like constipation and all. So these are all wrong perception of people. Why that is the reason why people start doing it. Thank you.
Right. And you mentioned about stressful conditions. So what are some of the common psychological or emotional triggers like anxiety or depression that can influence smoking habits in a person or in an individual, or can lead a smoker to reach for a cigarette?
Yeah, this is another interesting question. See, the triggers could be something like time, place, person, and thing. There are certain times where people feel or people will tell you that I don't generally smoke, but in the evening I need to smoke. Or people will tell you that I don't normally smoke, but I go to this place or this particular club or this particular area, only then I smoke. Or a particular thing. If I have a tea, I need to have a cigarette along with my tea. Or if I'm having alcohol, I need to have a cigarette along with my alcohol. Or after every lunch, I need to have a cigarette. So this time, place, person, like when I'm with this friends group, my friend circle, only then I smoke. So these are certain triggers which the people have which trigger them to smoke. But coming back to your question about anxiety and depression is something which is we need to be understood in much detail, because what people perceive is they can get out of this anxiety and depression by using nicotine, which is there in the tobacco, as a medicine. Because nicotine reaches your receptors and releases dopamine, which is a feel-good hormone. People want to get that feel-good sensation, and that is the reason they use this as a treatment, or they use this for to help them to get out of this anxiety and depression. So these are the certain common misconceptions which people have, and that is how they relate it to anxiety and depression as well.
Okay, and what can individuals do in such situations?
If they are having this anxiety and depression, first of all, we need to understand what's the level of this anxiety and depression. Of course, today everyone is having stress and everyone has a little bit of anxiety. So we need to understand that if they have this kind of anxiety and depression, they need to be guided properly about doing something like breathing exercises or doing yoga or doing meditation, which will take care of their anxiety, and they need not take cigarette for it. But having said that, there is a underlying thing also where there can be an underlying mental disorder where the anxiety levels could be high because of it, or there could be a severe depression cases because of it. So we need to evaluate the person by taking proper history, and if required, he has to be taking proper counseling or proper psychiatric treatment, and if required, some proper medicines as well. So in this case, it is very important to first evaluate the case, because each case is different. We cannot just say that this is a anxiety and we can get away with it by doing routine things. It has to be evaluated. But definitely the smoking or cigarette is not a solution, and they need to be guided properly. Of course, nicotine reaches the receptor and dopamine is released. The same dopamine is released when you are doing meditation, yoga, or when you are doing exercise. There are good ways of getting this feel-good hormone rather than getting into this smoking. But we should also always remember to understand the level of this disorders and accordingly guide them or treat them.
Okay. You mentioned about nicotine as a substance in the cigarette, and you have explained about the dopamine factor also. Can you also, can you simplify this a bit for the people who don't understand this? Can you explain the mechanism behind
Yes, yes.
nicotine
I
addiction?
would like to give certain basic about this tobacco and nicotine.
Hmm.
So first, try to understand from where does nicotine or where does tobacco come from.
Hmm.
So I hope most of the people must be aware that tobacco is basically coming from tobacco farms. So these are basically shrubs and they are tobacco farms. So why I'm mentioning about this tobacco farm is this: there is something unique about this tobacco farm. This is one of the only farms which doesn't require any fencing or any protection. Why does it doesn't require any protection? Because even animals don't eat this. Yes, you heard it right. Even animals don't eat tobacco because it is not an edible plant in the first place. My question is why animals are not eating it. If you take this tobacco leaf from the farm and give it to the laboratory just to understand what are the different chemicals present into it, even at that time when the tobacco is present in the tobacco farm, there are a lot of chemicals which are poisonous. So it is not an edible plant. Over a period of time, when these cigarette making companies prepare cigarettes and tobacco and other gutka and other products are prepared, they add more chemicals into it to make it more addictive, more pleasurable, a lot of flavors. In the process, what happens is the number of chemicals increases. So today the research says that when a person is smoking one cigarette, he is actually exposed to almost 4 to 7,000 chemicals, out of which 200 are proven poisonous, out of which more than 65 are proven carcinogenic. Now, carcinogenic chemicals are those chemicals which have the capacity to produce cancers. And what are these carcinogenic chemicals? There is ammonia in your detergent powder, there is cadmium in your batteries, there is acetone in your paints. So these are the chemicals which are actually present in your tobacco products. But try to understand one important point over here. The receptors in the brain want nicotine, which is one of the important component which is even present when the tobacco is there in the tobacco farm. Our brain receptors are not concerned with the other chemicals, whichever are poisonous or carcinogenic chemicals. Brain receptors want only nicotine. When nicotine reaches these receptors, dopamine is released, and as I said, it gives you a feel-good feeling. Now, what the scientists have done, they have prepared nicotine replacement therapy, what you call as NRT. They have replaced this nicotine from the tobacco into a crude form. So whenever the person gets urged to smoke, instead of getting the tobacco, we actually treat them with this nicotine replacement therapy, which is available in the form of chewing gum and patches. So the brain gets the nicotine dose, so the urge subsides and the patient can overcome that urge. But having said that, this is not as simple as I'm saying. This has to be supported with regular follow-up and good counseling. Because we have to taper this dose of the nicotine. Because what will happen if the person is not getting counseling, if in case he doesn't get the nicotine chewing gum, he will again start to smoke and get back to smoking. So nicotine replacement therapy is one of the part of the treatment and not entire treatment. And one more thing I want to make it very clear, it is always advisable that to take this nicotine replacement therapy under a proper expert's advice. Because first of all, everyone doesn't need it. It's the expert who decide which category of the addiction person will require this. Secondly, it is available in different dosages. Like the chewing gum is available in 4 milligram, 2 milligram. The patches are available in 21 milligram, 14 and 7 milligram. So the expert can guide you accordingly which dose has to be taken. And third, most important thing is it cannot be taken lifelong. It has to be tapered. That means the dose has to be reduced over a period of time, and it has to be supported by regular counseling and follow-up so that we can slowly get him out of that nicotine replacement therapy. But of course, it is one of the good part of the treatment for those who require it. And if used with the proper expert guidance, it can definitely be helpful in the treatment of getting people out of smoking or tobacco habit.
Dr. Rohan, there are researchers suggest that there are more than 600 ingredients in a cigarette. Then why is it that people only talk about nicotine? Is nicotine is the only substance that causes addiction?
Yeah, this is another important question. I would like to explain to the public that nicotine, people talk about nicotine because nicotine is one of the most addictive substance in the world. Try to understand nicotine is highly addictive. If you are taking tea or coffee, there is caffeine into it and it will produce like this level of addiction. But if you are taking narcotic drugs, which will produce very high level of addiction. And if you compare nicotine to this, it is almost equivalent to that narcotic drugs. So try to understand nicotine is one of the most addictive substance. As I said in the beginning, if 10 people are smoking for the first time, I'm saying first time exposure, even then 8 to 9 of them are highly get chances of getting into that addiction because nicotine is highly addictive. So that's the reason that people are talking about nicotine, and that's the reason nicotine replacement therapy is required. Other chemicals which are there, which we get along with nicotine in the tobacco or which we get in different tobacco products, are the additional chemicals. Of course, they are poisonous, they are carcinogenic, but nicotine is one of the chemical which the receptors take, and this is one of the most addictive substance. And the treatment, it has to be to overcome this nicotine addiction.
Also, is seeking professional assistance necessary to quit smoking, or can individuals do it on their own? And if
This is another interesting question. See, try to understand, it is easy for me or you to tell the people to stop smoking or get out of tobacco habit. Of course, they also understand, but the problem is they are not able to get out of it. Research says that 7 out of 10 people, imagine 7 out of 10 people want to quit. Means they have tried some time to quit, but they were not able to overcome it. See, try to understand nicotine addiction is not a simple addiction. It is like Amar Akbar Anthony. I mean, there are 3 addictions working at the same time. It's a physical addiction, it's a psychological addiction, and it's a behavioral addiction. Physical addiction, I have already explained that nicotine goes into the receptors and creates actual physical changes in the receptor level. So it is called as physical addiction. Second is the psychological addiction. That is the strong psychological association which the person develops with that particular product. Like people will tell you that when I am stressed, I need to smoke. When I need to have smooth bowel movements in the morning, I need to smoke. So they have that strong psychological association which has been developed. And third is the behavioral pattern. Over a period of time, it becomes part of your routine. As I just explained, the triggers which are there, the time, place, person, and thing. So it is the Amar Akbar Anthony, the physical, the psychological, and behavioral addiction acting at the same time. So it is not that easy for the person to get out of that habit. Research says that if the person takes a expert's advice and if the treatment is given in a healthcare kind of a setup, the success rate can increase almost 4 times. That is what the research has proven. So it is always advisable to take a proper help because the person can do a regular follow-up and guide you accordingly. So he can take care of the withdrawal symptoms what they're facing, and the proper hand holding can be done, and that will help the person get out of that habit more easily than that he could have done on his own. So definitely there are research studies available which show that if a person takes a expert's advice or help from the expert, definitely the chances of quitting almost double, almost 4 times.
And as you mentioned, experts' advice is helpful. Professional advice is required. Which specific medical professional specializing in what field would be the ideal choice for a smoker seeking assistance in their quit smoking journey?
To be very frank, we in our country get tobacco easily. I mean, you will find it very difficult to get a medical store at night, but maybe you might not find that difficult to get a pan bidi shop at night anywhere in the country, across the country. That's the reason of the easy access people consume it. But I want to bring to your notice that it is very unfortunate that people don't get help that easily. Even if the person wants to quit, it's not easy for him to quit, and he doesn't know what to do, and he doesn't know where can I get this help.
Yes.
Of course, the government helplines are there, and there are certain experts like me, doctors like me, dentists like me. There are certain counselors. There are few NGOs doing definitely good work. But considering the population of India, I mean, we have crossed China and the crores of people, and considering more than 40% of our adult population consuming tobacco, the number of people consuming tobacco is huge. And to compare to that, to be very frank, the experts available to help people to quit is definitely very, very low. So it's a very difficult situation where people, even if they want to quit, they don't know what to do. And unfortunately, they get misguided. They buy the NRT products on their own, and it doesn't help them. So definitely, this is something which our country is struggling till now. I will tell you that people don't even know that quitting is possible, and they don't know that there are experts who can help us in getting out of this habit. So this is the current scenario. That is why I would like to thank your organization for giving me this opportunity, because awareness is required in this scenario, because people don't even know that it is possible to quit. People feel it's impossible to quit. And secondly, there are experts like me who help people to quit. People need to reach out to them. So this is something very important point what you have raised.
And you talked about withdrawal symptoms a little bit earlier in the interview. What exactly are withdrawal symptoms?
Yes, this is something again every person should know about it, because though nicotine addiction or tobacco addiction is an addiction, fortunately the best part is the withdrawal symptoms are not that severe. First of all, we need to understand what is a withdrawal symptom. When I said your body receptors demand for nicotine, and if you don't smoke and if the nicotine don't reach those receptors, the body will start showing certain uneasiness or certain symptoms which are called as withdrawal symptoms. Fortunately, in the case of tobacco addiction or nicotine addiction, this particular withdrawal symptoms are never ever life-threatening. Means no one is going to die because of quitting smoking, or no one is going to die because of not getting that particular nicotine dose. Secondly, whatever symptoms are withdrawal symptoms are there is a proper research study available that they are more mind related, mental symptoms rather than physical symptoms. So anxiety, strong urge, irritability, insomnia, these are some mind related symptoms. And third important point is they don't last for more than 2 to 4 weeks. There's a proper study available. What are the most common withdrawal symptoms? And they have found out that they won't last for more than 2 to 4 weeks. So first point is they are not life-threatening. Second point is they are more mind-related. And third point is they don't last for more than 2 to 4 weeks. That is why we do vigorous follow-up in the initial days, because we know that the withdrawals are more in the initial 4 weeks. Only withdrawal symptom which lasts for 10 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks is increased appetite. Tobacco kills your appetite. So when you stop smoking, your appetite increases. But as I said, most of the withdrawal symptoms don't last for more than 2 to 4 weeks. This is very important to know, because the treatment of tobacco can be done at daycare basis. No patients need to be admitted or put in a rehab kind of a setup for quitting tobacco. So tobacco, the best part is the withdrawal symptoms are not harmful and they can be treated at a daycare basis, in an OPD level basis.
And when can a person know that they're addicted to tobacco now?
See, as I said, this tobacco is a triple addiction. It's a Amar Akbar Anthony, the physical, psychological, and behavioral addiction working at the same time. Or it could be one of this addiction, like it could be only behaviorally addicted, and he has not reached that stage of physical dependence till now. But definitely, any form of tobacco and any quantity of tobacco you are consuming, it is going to be harmful. So first point is, no matter what tobacco product it is going to be harmful. May it be a cigarette, BD, hookah, or any other chewing tobacco product, it is going to be harmful. Second point is, no matter what quantity you are taking it, even if you're taking one cigarette in a day, it is definitely going to be harmful. And third important point is, no matter what duration you are taking it, it is still going to be harmful. So that doesn't matter which addiction you are or how much quantity you are consuming. If you are consuming tobacco product, no matter how small quantity or how small duration you are doing it, there are instances that people have suffered from life-threatening illnesses even after taking small quantity for shorter durations. So I feel at any stage or any addiction of any tobacco products should be immediately quit, so that the body gets time to recover. Now try to understand this important point over here. Our body has capacity to do recovery, to heal, there is a constant repair process going on. For example, if you fall down and you get an injury, that injury won't last for lifelong, because our body is doing continuous cell regeneration and continuous repair. Similarly, when a person quits tobacco habit, there are proper research studies available. What are the good changes happening in the body? Right from 20 minutes of quitting smoking to 15 years of quitting smoking. So within 20 minutes, your pulse rate and blood pressure starts getting back to normal. Within 12 hours, your carbon monoxide level starts getting back to normal. Within 2 to 12 weeks, your lung function test, chest congestion starts improving. Within 5 to 10 years, your risk to stroke, heart attack drops by 50%. And within 15 years, you are as good as a non-smoker for any cardiovascular disease risk. So try to understand, the earlier the patient quits, the earlier the body will get chance to repair, and you will come into category of a non-smoker for any risk for your health. So this is something very important to convey to the people, because what people feel, I have already smoked for 5 years, 10 years. Now, what is the point of quitting? Because I have already damaged my body parts. But that's not the reality. The reality is your body has capacity to repair. So give your chance to your body to repair. So quit as early as possible so that your body will get out of those whatever damage it has caused.
Okay. And Dr. Rohan, in the lead up to this interview, I had a word with a couple of people who were on this journey of quitting smoking. And it has been a raw and a genuine challenge for them. They spoke about all the withdrawal symptoms that you just spoke about, the increased appetite, the struggles with increased appetite, cravings, then reality of the withdrawal symptoms, relapse. So what kind of support should individuals seek or get while they're trying to manage these challenges on their own?
Yeah, I can give certain basic tips. Of course, these are not specific, these are generalized tips. See, first of all, you need to understand there is a strategy, what you call a STAR strategy. First of all, you should need to set a quit date. First, you need to decide, make a proper decision to quit. Second is tell your family members and your co-workers so that they don't do it in front of you and trigger you. And another thing is they will also support you in this entire process. Third is anticipate challenges. STAR, anticipate challenges means what? We need to understand ki if I don't get to smoke, what are the problems I face? So if there is a particular problem like I face constipation or I face headache or I face stomach ache, you be prepared for that and have proper support to take care of those particular withdrawal symptoms. And fourth important point is remove all the tobacco products, like remove the products from your office, your home, your car or somewhere so that those don't trigger you getting back to the habit. Having said that, after doing this, also if you're getting the urge to smoke, try to understand this urge is very strong in the initial 2 to 5 minutes. Over a period of 20 minutes, it will go away. So we have to be very careful in this first 2 to 5 minutes. So what are the coping mechanism? What are the things you can do to take care in the first 2 to 5 minutes? We follow 4 Ds. Now, what are these 4 Ds? English alphabet D, D for dog. So first D is deep breathing. Now also we are breathing, but once we start doing deep breathing, our whole attention is on breath. So immediately the attention goes on the breathing and your attention from the urge starts getting away or you're getting diverted. Second is drink water. You can take a glass of water and drink sip by sip. When you're drinking water, your mind relaxes and your whole attention again is on drinking water. Third is delay. Tell yourself, okay, I will have it, but I will have it after some time. The moment you start delaying, the mind gets convinced I'm going to get it and the urge will automatically start disappearing. And fourth is do something else, do some action or do something else where your physical actions are involved so that your mind gets diverted. These are certain basic, simple tips. Of course, it may work for some, any one of this may work for individuals because it's very person specific, but you can try these things like drink water, deep breathing, delay and do something else. And as I said, you can also practice the STAR strategy. That is set a quit date, tell your family members and co-workers, anticipate challenges, and R is remove all the tobacco products.
These are some amazing tips. I'm pretty sure everyone will, get help from this. You mentioned that there are people who start smoking in peer pressure. Also, there are people who start smoking, in peer pressure in offices or, in schools these days. So, are there any specific healthier alternatives, such as nicotine replacement therapy, as you mentioned, that have shown success in helping individuals quit smoking?
Definitely, but in the initial, when the people start doing it, I feel they need to focus more on not just alternatives like NRTs, but I feel they should focus more on doing something involving in physical exercise. As I said, when nicotine reaches the receptors, dopamine is released. Same dopamine is released when you are actually doing exercise or doing any physical activities. And once you are into the regime of doing regular exercises, it will set a lot of disciplines in your lifestyle. Because you are doing exercise, you will sleep early. Because you are doing exercise, you will have proper diet. You will be diet conscious. So this one particular change in your lifestyle will bring cascade effect of multiple good changes in your lifestyle. So rather than going to the nicotine replacement therapies and all the other alternatives, I would prefer the person getting something positive in their personality, in their lifestyle, depending upon whatever professions they are. They might be a student or they may be working according to their profession and according to their availability and according to their convenience. They should indulge in something which we call as healthy habits. So there are certain healthy habits and there are certain bad habits. So the more you indulge into a healthy habit, there are definitely multiple rewards for it. So every disciplined habit is going to give you multiple rewards. So if you talk about NRT, it is more of a treatment part of it. It cannot be used as a regular alternative. It has to be used by the expert. But definitely the healthy habits can be inculcated. So automatically the negative things and the wrong habits will start getting less, and the healthy habits will overcome them.
And as a tobacco de-addiction expert, do you have can you like share some success stories with us that can, inspire all the audience that is watching the interview right now?
Oh, definitely. There are so many. I have counseled more than 5,000 people, and I'm still doing it on a regular basis. And they are from different age groups, and they are from different, severity. Like people feel ki, the person is smoking more than 20, 30 cigarettes. How can he quit? Or the person is been trying for so many years, still how he can quit. So remember one basic thing, it is possible to quit. There is help available. And if you're taking a proper help and you're determined to quit, definitely there are chances, and there are definitely success stories. My personal success rate has been above 50%. So that doesn't mean that it is not possible to quit. So the key message, or the main important message I want to convey over here is, first of all, don't get into such habits. And second thing, help those people who want to quit. Because I being working in hospitals, and I know what difficulties the relatives have to face when their person from their family suffers from some deadly illnesses. It is absolutely very stressful for the entire family. So when you're helping one person to get out of the habit, you are actually helping the entire family. And of course, this is something which I've been doing passionately, and the response what I get, the feedback what I get, the job satisfaction what I get, I cannot explain it in words. Definitely, there have been many success stories. Even in my awareness sessions in my colleges, students come up and they tell me that they were, they like the session and they would like to quit and all. So definitely, even if one lecture can do the difference, definitely if you take a proper guidance, definitely the success rate could be much more.
Well, that was it from our end. I hope this interview was as informative for all of you who are watching it as it was for us. Thank you so much, Dr. Rohan, for giving us this informative tips.
Thank you so much. Thank you, THIP Healthcare Private Limited. And I would again like to thank the entire team for giving me this opportunity, because such kind of awareness session is the need of the hour. Because what I title my session always is urgent need of tobacco de-addiction in India. We won't imagine the number of population consuming tobacco and people coming up with cancer hospitals and investing in cancer hospitals. It is something very sad today that we are number one in oral cancers, and the situation is very bad. We have to save our youngsters from getting into it, and on the other hand, we need to help people who are already into it to get out of it before they land up into any deadly illnesses. So thank you once again, and all the best.
We hope that this conversation will help you on your journey of quitting tobacco. And if you think we should do another segment of this interview with Dr. Rohan, then do let us know in the comment section below. And also don't forget to leave your questions and feedbacks in the comments. Do like and share this video, subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon, and don't forget to follow Dr. Rohan and THIP Media on our social media platforms for more such health tips. Thank you.